we go. All right. Good morning, everybody. Minute or two before 5, so I'm going to have a cup of coffee. I hope everybody's doing all right today. Hope everybody's doing all right. Had to have a touch of that coffee. Oh well. Got shadow from the lights on me. How's that sound? Sound all right? Am I too far away? 4 inches? 4 inches? That's about where I'm supposed to be. I guess I can. I took the gain up on that. How's that? Any better? All else fails, I can bump the gain up here. Audio. Good morning. All right. There we go. All right. What's the weather like this week, guys? Kind of dry now. We had, man, I had lots of rain. Okay. All right. The weather looks pretty good this week, guys. Going to be up there about 84, in the 80s. Most of the week in the 80s. Chance of rain on Wednesday, chance of rain on Friday. But the temperatures are up. Time to get after it, you construction scallywags. Anybody else who's up at this time in the morning. Try to get you motivated, get you going. Another week. Here we go. Buckle up. Everybody have a good weekend. Get rested up. I had a game to go to, a softball game to go to Saturday. Had to drive down into Lawrenceville, got about halfway there, and they canceled it out because the fields were flooded from all the rain. So turned around and came back home and took a little side trip down through the national forest and had the granddaughter and showed her where, place where we lived, and wonderful time visiting with her. And then the other daughter and her family came up, and we all had a communal dinner and playtime with the kids out there in the yard. The grandboy, the 4-year-old and the 16-year-old water balloon fight. I don't know what they were doing. I was cooking chili rellenos while they were out there playing. That was good. Sat around and visited for a while, and then everybody went their own way, and got up yesterday. That was Saturday. Got up yesterday and Fooled around here in the house, got the seedlings, took them out into under the patio here, outside the garage door to get them out of the basement. Boy, they're ready to go on the ground. I'm going to get that done this week. So that's what my game plans are. I haven't been in the field in a while, probably. What is this, April? Hell, it's been a month. That's all I got plenty to do around this house, keep me busy. How about y'all? Anybody tuned in with me this morning? This past week, I talked to respiratory protection and all the hazards guys we face out there in the field. Asbestos, silica dust, chemicals from paints and adhesives, and several other respiratory hazards that we as construction workers can run into out there in the field. So if y'all need some reference to that video, it's what is that? Middleclassbubba on the old YouTubes. Anyway, weather is going to be pretty good this week. Chance of rain on Wednesday, chance of rain on Friday. Other than that, it's clear sailing. And traffic. Y'all love it. Loving that traffic. Picking up the guys at the Quick Trip this morning, or not even that. You know, getting your crews together, getting yourself together. Make sure you pack a lunch. Drink coffee instead of Monster drinks or energy drinks. Man, those things are loaded down with stuff. I mean, they have a right to make money and you have a right to buy it, but it's probably not very good on your body. And those manufacturers out there, long as they meet some guideline that they have paid some legislative body to say that's okay to put that in food. You know, oh, I forgot to put my darn logo up. So, gotta do a couple things now. There we go. Now we got things jumping around me. My artwork. All right, there we go. I'm on the satellite link this morning. The only link I got to the outside world anymore. But if you see me stutter, that's what it is. Listen. Shadows. Anyway, after I get done with y'all this morning, then I'm going to head out and do a couple things. Take off the trash. I got a doctor's appointment. I got to go to the grocery store. And then come back and start working in the garden. Putting them plants in. Anyway, I don't know. I think I'd rather be in the field sometimes. But, when you're home, they can't do without you. They do fine when you're on the road making that money. Seems like sometimes it's a lot easier to stay on the road and make that money. I'm just kidding. I need something to talk to y'all about this morning here. Anybody out there, come on, jump on and give me a comment. There we go. I see what I look at everyone. Any of y'all journal? Uh-oh. There we go. Pause video. Journaling. Son and I were talking about that the other day. About journaling. Helps you keep track of what's going on in your world. Less likely to forget what you got going on. I get some glasses on. Holy cow. It's rough getting old, boys, girls. Journal. See? Every day a journal. You gotta, these journals, I can go back and tell you what I've done on a daily basis. And I don't know, man. Sometimes you forget and you have to make it up, or catch it up, I should say. But at least when you make a note, you can go back and look, help keep you fresh. Here we are, Monday morning. I got a doctor's appointment this morning. Yeah, I'm just catching up my journal. I better quit. Anyway, journaling. If you make a commitment, and Lord knows we all make enough every day, enough commitments every day. You know, remember to call to give a job update, a progress report. Try to remember to call to get some equipment repairs or maintenance done. And then on top of that, you're going to the Home Depot or wherever you need to go, pick up equipment and tools, and then you forget the thing. The main thing you got to go pick up for keep your job rolling, and then you get sidetracked on your way out. You know, don't forget to I need some gloves, need some glasses, need some drill bits, need blah 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 blah, and then you get back and you forgot to get the main thing you went out after. So, you know, it's important, I think, for you to have a journal. And you know, even with the phone, like this one's got a pen, and you pull it and you could pop up and take a note, blah 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 blah, right? And then you can get to your journal and and transpose these notes. But you should always be making notes. I use that. I used to use a little pad that would fit in my shirt pocket and a pencil, and use that system. But you need a system out there, guys. I don't care if you're the bottom man on the totem pole. You're just getting started. You know, the guy who keeps track of his stuff, his objectives, is the guy who's in demand. So I recommend journal keeping, some kind of journaling, something, some way. And I've tried it with the phone, and I do use the calendar a lot with the phone because it will go bing bing and notify me in case I'm in the middle of the day and I forget stuff. But the old paper journal tends to create a permanent record for me that's chronological in order, and just I can't tell you how many times it's been of value to me to have been journaling. So I recommend you journal. Some people call it keep it a diary. It's the same thing. I would just do that. Give it a try. Give it a try. You can write up that, you know, Johnny overslept. Y'all ever do that? You make a commitment to pick old boy up, and you know the first day or two he's on time, and then one day after a week you wait on him 2 minutes, and then it just deteriorates. So you're out there waiting on him every day, honking the horn like he gets out of bed when you drive up, and before you know it, you're running late to pick up all your guys, and you get 2 or 3 of those guys that aren't as excited to get to work as you are. Hell, man, I've been known to leave them. I say, I'm going to be there at 5 a.m. and I will be leaving at 5:05, with or without you. And you leave them a time or two and they don't make a paycheck. It has consequences, but it's inappropriate for someone else to place demands on your time. You're generous enough to maybe got them the job, and you're generous enough to go by and pick them up, and then they have no respect for your time, for the things you've done. Nah, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. Not when you've done all that for them and they can't get out of the bed on time to get in the truck and go. You don't need to work. It ain't that important to you. I do. And I told my boss I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock. And by God, I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock. And if I'm generous enough to give you a ride, and I'm still going to be there at 7 o'clock, then you've got to come up to the rise to the expectation. Because very seldom have I met people that I just could not do without. I mean, it's nice to have them, that extra hand, whether I need them to go get tools or to perform a specialized task or whatever they have a talent in. But if they make me look bad in front of my other crew members or in front of my contractor or the guy I'm working for, that ain't happening. Anyway, here we go. 5:20 already. So can you believe we've been in it all this time? Slow start, I understand. It's early in the morning. I'm still trying to get myself together. But I did have made up the bed, got up, took my medications, and made a cup of coffee. And there was a couple leftover pancakes and a couple pieces of sausage. So I had breakfast, and I've had some coffee now. Excuse me. Got the trash ready to go. I do have to make another trip upstairs because I forgot my grocery list, though. Here it is, end of the month. Too, the bills are going to be due. I got to sit down here Wednesday and pay the bills. How about that? How do you guys pay your bills? I've been out there in the field, and guys are paying something this week and something that week, and or 2 things this week and 2 things this week and 1 thing this week, and got it all spread out and constantly worrying about it and trying to remember it, and probably got the phone dinging at you reminding you got to pay all these. I'm like, oh, no. Guys, save you money. The old rule of thumb is give 10% to charity, save 20%. Well, I have to save 20% to pay taxes and things because I'm a contractor now, but it would be save 10% and 10% to the church, and the rest of it you would manage. You would save your money to go on vacations and things like that. But now that's the way I do it. Once a month I sit down and pay the bills. I don't feel like being aggravated, and I know you don't either. And all it takes is a little discipline up front to get ahead a month or 2 in your savings account, and that way you can sit down leisurely and pay your bills. But you gotta be careful. You just got to manage your affairs. That's all there is to it. When you start managing your affairs, other people recognize when your affairs are in order by the way you behave. If you're eager and ready to go, you got your life under control and you're here to perform whatever duty you're going to do, whatever work you're going to do, then here you are, there you are, and you get after it and you move along. Instead of being scatterbrained and not taking care of managing your affairs leads you to be scatterbrained and not as effective as you could be. But anyway, keep that in mind. Journaling is a good thing to keep you organized, and managing your finances. And you can start small. We've talked about it time or two, and I'll talk about it all the time. I got this cup of coffee and then a big cup of coffee in one of those thermos things, and it probably cost me 25 to 50 cents to make that, and I'll be drinking coffee all day long. I was of the crowd one time. It was the first thing in the morning, stop at the Quick Trip and spend $2 or $3, $4 or $5, and then at lunchtime you're spending another $10 or $15, and before you know it, you're spending $25, $50 a day, and Then at the end of the week, you're wondering where all your money went. Well, there you go. Add it up. Take a sack lunch. That money adds up. Put it in your savings account. Put it away. Put it under your mattress. Put it in a cigar box. Put it in I don't know. Put it somewhere. And then come the end of the month, after about 3 months, you've got enough saved up that you can make all your expenses. You can pay your expenses, your monthly expenses, your rent or mortgage and insurances and, whatever, and then some people just want to pay their auto insurance monthly. Man, that's crazy. Why I want to pay automobile insurance once a month? That's another 10 minutes of my time I got to take and make sure I keep the money back, or I forget to plan for it, and boom, there it is. It's either pay your auto insurance and you ain't got no insurance. That's why you're picking up some of these guys, in the morning, because they're not managing their affairs and they can't afford a car because they spend their money the minute they get it and then wonder why I ain't got nothing. Well, that's craziness. I'm just telling you, get yourself organized. Get yourself organized so you can grow in your skill sets and you can grow in your life and be a more responsible citizen in your community and in the country. So do that. Work on that. You're more than just a hammer operator or a wheelbarrow pusher or a excavator operator or a demolition guy or a steel setter. You're more than that. You're more than that. Don't a job is a job. Come on, man. Learn to play guitar. That's what I do. Mandolin, guitar, garden. Put some of that stuff. Put yourself in motion, doing good stuff for yourself and others. Anyway, moving along. What kind of work we got going today? Y'all give me a message, send me a note. Tell me whether you're hanging steel. Tell me whether you're pouring concrete, doing masonry work, plumbing, electrician. Come on, tell me what you're doing today. I want to know. I want to know what kind of work you're doing, what kind of project. You're doing residential, you're doing industrial, commercial. All of them have different aspects. All of them have a different way of going about doing work. And I'm curious, and I just want to know what kind of work everybody's doing out there. It's exciting to me. What parts of the economy is booming? Is the residential still going? Is there a demand for residential right now, or is that slowing down? I went through Atlanta the other day and I didn't see but one crane in the air in Midtown or downtown. So, and I'm used to seeing at least 5 or 6 over the past 3 or 4 years. I don't know what's coming that way. I'm curious to know. Anyway, that's kind of the stuff I want to know about in the city traffic. Good Lord bless you guys' heart that have to sit in that city traffic, and everybody trying to be somewhere. And the darn fool thing of it is, half the dadgum city of Atlanta work on the south side and live on the north side, and the other half live on the south side and work on the north side, it seems like. Trying to get across the city, and here you are trying to get to a job site because your job site changes on a pretty regular basis. It's nice to get on a long-term project where you're there for a year or so and know where you're going every day and how you're going to get there. It gets to be a nice little routine, but other times, man, it's 2 days here, a week here, and then on to the next one. Seems like sometimes it's a constant state of confusion. But anyway, that's just me rambling on this morning, trying to entertain you guys, But we got the good morning, the weather, and the respiratory protection. Last week we talked about silica dust. Along with that silica dust, there's respiratory protection. You know, got engineering controls where, use ample water, but sometimes the water you got to have more than just the water. And there's an OSHA standard. It's 1926, 1153. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a whole respiratory protection section. And there's basically 3 types of respiratory protection that you wear on your face. And that's, there's actually 4. You got the N95s, which is voluntary. But if your employer requires you to wear any type of respirator, they also are responsible to make sure that you're fit tested and can wear that stuff. Those respirators can be quite a burden on your respiratory system. And if you're an older guy and you've had a lot of exposures, or even a younger guy might have some lung conditions or heart conditions, you overload your body by wearing a respirator, it could be bad news for you. It could cause you to be ill, have trouble breathing or whatever, maybe give you a heart fit. So if there's a requirement for you to wear respiratory protection, then your employer has to provide you with a respiratory physical and a fit test, show you how to wear the equipment. You got to be trained. Anyway, there's just the voluntary, which is the N95. And then you got half face air, I guess I call them air purifier, but you'll see them. They got little purple asbestos guys working in concrete, got a little purple filter on them. Those are HEPA filters. And they're just designed to filter out particulate debris, and they will handle most things. Like I say, you see asbestos workers wearing them, and that'll work for also concrete dust and things like that. And then you have to step up again, and then you may have a filter that goes on the respirator, and you'll see that too. It'll be 2 colors, a canister of 2 different colors, and it may be specific to the hazards you're exposed to, but normally you see like a gray and a pink. Well, the pink is going to be for particulates like asbestos, silica dust, regular dust, and stuff like that. And then if it's gray, that's normally an organic filter that would work well for torch cutting, where you're torch cutting lead painted metal or things like that, where it produces some kind of organic compound in the process. And that gray filter would be for that. But if you're exposed to other thing, I think there's one for some other types of chemicals. It'll be a different color. And then after you do that, the step up, you're using those with your own lungs to bring air in and push out. And then the next step up from that would be PAPRs, which is powered respirators. Got a little motor on them that keep a constant pressure of air blowing into your face that comes through the filters. So air is pumped into that filter. The ambient air which you're working in is pumped in past those filters and keeps a positive pressure on your face, and that prevents stuff from coming in on your intake. You just, when you breathe in, it's still got positive pressure pushing stuff out, so you're getting a cleaner air supply, and it's a whole lot less stressful on your cardio system, your cardiopulmonary system. It's you can work longer without as much stress. And then after that, the final is supplied air. If you're working in a low oxygen scenario, because some of the gases that you may experience on construction sites, it's not that the gas is necessarily bad, but it displaces all the oxygen, which is not a good thing. So you have to have supplied air, and that's normally with a tank, either a line that runs out to a compressor that's filtered, all the air is filtered, and then you would have an emergency little 5-minute canister that you would carry with you, or you would have a what do they call it? It's like a scuba diver. You got a tank of air on your back, and you got a pressure gauge, and you have to watch your pressures when you're doing work. You make sure you don't run out of air and time yourself to get out. And you got people telling you, hey, time to get out, and they're watching you, and everybody's watching each other. That's when it gets pretty serious. And then you can move up into hazardous work where you're in pressurized suits. I've had guys doing that before, where you just didn't need any of that chemical on you. You just had to be fully protected with supplied air. So that is that story. It's kind of exciting when you do that kind of work, but you got to be aware, and your employer has to train you on that. And if any of you guys ever run across any of that stuff, make sure that and you're not sure now, you can walk onto a job site and your supervisor was thrown into it and he has absolutely no training, and you may recognize things as not being quite right, and you have the right, and you should ask about, hey man, this stuff looks pretty dangerous. You know, we need to do something here. And I'm making a note here what I talked about, types of respiratory protection. But anytime you need a question, you can contact me, and we'll sure enough take a look, help you out. There we go. That's what I need. And that's that's it. Anyway, respiratory protection. Along those lines, it's you know, you need to learn to recognize hazards too. If there's a particular odor in the air, or you can visibly see emissions of dust from concrete cutting, breaking, or you see other types of demolition that's produced in dust, you should recognize right then and there, hey, wait a minute, it's probably not good for my lungs over the long haul. Get with your supervisor. He may not know, he may not have been trained, he may not have been informed, even though that's the company's responsibility to ensure that supervisors and employees are trained on respiratory hazards, so that you can recognize them in the field. So do your due diligence. I've got a couple videos on the other YouTube channel about respiratory protection. I probably need to do a video, and y'all let me know. Probably need to do another video talking about some of the types of respiratory hazards. I was just on a job here where they were using that cyanate, spray foam insulation, and I'm not sure what the exposures are, but it had to do with building big old freezers, and the guys had to go in with that spray foam, and a couple little bottles in a tote and a hose, and they'd fill in where they had put those panels together for a big freezer. And I don't ever remember seeing those guys wearing any respiratory protection, but I'm not sure what their exposure levels are either. So just keep that kind of stuff in mind when you're out there, all right? But water is your friend when you're having to do any kind of work that involves respiratory protection. Water keeps down a lot of dust. In the asbestos industry, they have to use water with surfactants in it to help the water cling to everything. And it's normally just a soap. I don't know. I'm sure it's just a simple soap that they use to help the water stick to the asbestos particles to keep them wetted, as the word goes, to keep them wetted, so they're not as likely to float in the air. But yeah, that's something. You guys, take care of your lungs. They got to last you a long time. You get on up there in years, and like me, and I'm still considered early 60s. I ain't made that 65 yet, but you get out there in your early 60s and you're thinking about retirement, and all of a sudden, man, you can't even hardly do anything around the house because your lungs are shot out because of the work you've done over the years. You can't do the walking and the gardening and all that stuff because your lungs are all goofed up. Don't do that. Come on, young guys, take care of yourself out there. We want you around to agitate us older people a long time. All right, that's enough on that. How much time? It's 5:40. I got 20 minutes left with you. I got 20 minutes of time to fill up. Now, I know most of you is listening to your music, and I don't see anybody watching right now, but I'm gaining experience, and I'm pretending like somebody's listening to me. It just improves my skill set. Maybe one day somebody, a crew truck, will say, "Hey man, you seen this guy?" And tune me in on Monday morning. I'm here every Monday morning at 5 o'clock. Now, I did miss a month or so because I committed to help a guy out on a job site on Monday mornings. And I didn't know how to do it from the truck or live or anything like that. And I just didn't feel right doing it. I may have to change that in case that opportunity comes along, because well, then the other thing is I'm probably driving just like you at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't seem right. But if I ain't in the field every morning, I promise to be here at 5 every Monday morning at 5 o'clock. Call it drive time. I don't know how many people are actually driving at 5 o'clock in the morning going to work. There's some of you. I know there are, and those are the guys I'm reaching out to. Those guys, by God, that feel like they're getting abused by everybody just to keep food on the table. You're rolling at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to pick up equipment, going to the shop, getting equipment you're going to need, picking up guys, just doing all kinds of crazy things, working like crazy, trying to take care of your family. And man, I appreciate you doing that. And I just want to be a bright part of your week. Maybe give you some hints on how to take care of yourself so you can enjoy your children when they get older, and your grandchildren. I'm not necessarily focused on safety, but I do think we should talk about self-preservation on these Monday morning rollouts, and maybe have a sense of humor about it. I look forward to the day where there's a few guys on here and they type in a question or say something goofy or tell me I'm being goofy, so we can talk about it with one another and develop a relationship and put you in a good mood on your way to work on Monday mornings. Anyway, that's the way I see it, and that's the vision I have for what I'm doing here every Monday morning, helping you get yourself together and helping me get myself together so that we can lead a more productive and successful life with less worry. Because Lord knows if we let the world drive us, we will be worried all the time. I think it's designed like that. What do you think? Keep you confused and dazed and confused. Isn't that a rock and roll song by Led Zeppelin or something? Dazed and Confused. I have to look that up. Maybe play a snippet for you. I'm still learning how to do that too, on how to play. I got to be right. Yeah. be right back. And I got a little music on that. And so, and if there's a guest, I've got that set up. Or if I could show a window or something right here if I wanted to in this blank area, but I'm working on it. And if any of you guys are experts I'm using OBS. If any of you guys are experts in OBS or in that kind of software, let me know. Let me know. Help me out. Give me a hand in this endeavor to provide an entertaining hour once a week to guys who are out there on their way to work. That's the kind of thing I'd like to be for you. Kind of like the Howard Stern. Look, I know I ain't no Howard Stern, but I'm sure not everybody wants to listen to Howard Stern, and maybe I'll be a choice. I want to be a choice. Anyway, that's why I'm doing it, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity. I'm grateful to have gotten the resources to try and do that, and I'll do the best I can, and as I gain participants, then I'll just get better at it. But anyway, we're gonna march on. Anything else we need to talk about today? Everybody attend the church of their choice this week. It's important to have a grateful attitude or a good attitude when you start out on the week, and you start out going, oh my God. Have you ever seen them? You ever seen those people who just always got their head in their hand? You can't say nothing to them because they're just like this. Either they have put a burden on themselves or somebody else has put a burden on them they've allowed to affect them in a bad way. Listen, we all can tote a burden. Don't do it. Don't tote those unnecessary burdens. When you're feeling like you want to put that head in your hand, think about the guy out there in the rainstorm with nowhere to go. That maybe drugs has taken him down a path where his family doesn't want to interact with him, or he's got some mental illness where he doesn't know where he's at or where he's going, or has no desire to do anything. Man, that's a beat out way to live. And we don't have to. We have a mind. We have the ability to change our mindset and make a decision on how we're going to face the world. We can face the world like it's a slave master and it's going to beat us every chance it gets, and it's you're predestined to live a life as a beast of burden. Or you can look at it like you have an independent mind, and that the world is yours to decide what you're going to do. And it is only if you see it that way. And also being a good example for others, and I'm guilty of it. I used to be bigger in the church and volunteer work, and I just haven't been into it for a while, and I'm being self-critical, and I think I need to do more for others, and I think that would benefit me, and I think that's where I'm at now. So I need to maybe one of you guys watching this can say, hey, I do volunteer work, I do this stuff. That keeps me high and motivated on life, and help motivate me to find that thing that I can add to somebody's life with. Anyway, here we are yakking away, and it's 12 minutes till 6. Ain't you feeling good? You done got up? Hell, man, them old office workers, there ain't many of them office workers left anymore. I guess during that pandemic, everybody decided they were going to try and work, what do they call that? Remotely. I know where I live up here, this is there ain't no, where I live at, you got to drive probably close to Gainesville to find any kind of employment. But all of a sudden, over the past few years, these small towns up here in the southern Appalachians, they've been growing. And I'm wondering if it's not those bureaucrats and those people who thought they was going to be remote working from now on moved up here and started taking advantage of it. And now that they're having to go back to work, it's probably going to have the economy is going to have some effect from all that craziness. And I'm sorry if you're a bureaucrat or you're somebody who had that ability to work remotely. I'm going to put that quote, work remotely. And that time's coming to an end for you. I don't have much sympathy for you. Because I know how less motivated I am well, it's always a measure. But anyway, we all getting to work. Let's just get to work. Get out and be productive. And besides, who wants to be cooped up looking at the same walls every day? I was on a morning walk the other day, and there was this middle-aged lady. She's probably in her 50s, more than middle-aged. And we were walking in the quietness of a park, and she was on the phone, yakking it up, talking about how disappointed she was at whoever she was working for. I don't know if it was a Department of Education or some other IBM or whoever. And she was raising Cain about having to go back to work because she lives here now. She was mad, boy. I can't say as I blame her, hey, you get to work anywhere you want to now. You can live and work from anywhere in the world. That's the dream, isn't it? That was the dream. And that they had no expectations of that coming to them. And then all of a sudden it has come to them. And they took advantage of it, and now it's being taken away. And they've upset their lives 2 different times. And now, it's changing on them. So, that's just the way it goes. Anyway, we're running up on it now here. Got about 8 minutes left. 8 minutes of drive time pleasure from Middleclassbubba. Get y'all to work, get you started, get you thinking. It may not get you laughing, but get you thinking about it. And if anything, laugh at yourself, man. People have a hard time laughing at themselves. And I believe you should be able to laugh at yourself if you do something silly, as long as you don't hurt nobody. If you make a stupid decision and it cost you a little something, that's called a valuable lesson. And hopefully you won't make it again, and you'll learn from it, and you can share with others to keep them from making the same mistake. But yeah, don't ever be afraid to laugh at yourself. If the guys are poking fun at you and they're loving on you and they say something that is true that you don't like about yourself, go ahead and laugh about it. And then if you don't like it, then work on not being that way anymore. It won't happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight, and they won't go, oh, now you're changing because we made fun of you. And go, yeah, I did. You're right. I want to change. And that's part of it. But anyway, I'm just ambling on here. I've got no direction. I need to work on having some type of thing worked up for you guys. And I think about it on Sunday evenings. What am I going to talk about? And lately, I've just been talking about the latest the main topic of the day is the safety thing that I made a video on earlier in the week, because I'm guessing that I'm mostly talking to guys who are getting out there in the construction fields, and they need the information. And I'm not trying to be a boss or anything. I'm just trying to give you information to help you protect yourself, educate you, and some of the responsibilities of your employer to help you be safe out there. And that requires training you, educating you, providing you with the proper equipment and all these things to make sure that you're safe and sound at the end of the day and go back home to your families. It's a big expense for an employer too to have somebody injured on the job, and they should be actively looking at that. Of course, me being concentrating in safety over the past few years, they look at the safety guy like he's just a big expense, and they don't see anything from it. And then they go, well, we don't need a safety guy anymore. He's come in and he set all this up well. And then something happens, bam, and then they're all of a sudden calling me up, and the owners, and they want you to guide them through their turmoil that they might have gotten into with a governmental agency, and they failed to follow any of the procedures, and there's very little you can do for them. You can say, well, you got documents on this, you got to show where you've done that, and yeah, we got them around here somewhere, and anyway, so that's why it's you, the guy who's doing the work, to recognize hazards and understand as much as you can. So, because your supervisor may not know, some companies out there, mom and pops, and hey, they're the backbone of America. They may not know. They know that, hey, man, I can make money by doing this kind of work, and I'm good at it, and I know guys who are good at it. Let's organize ourselves into a corporation, a company, and go out here and perform this work. And they know the hazards. They've been around them long. The mom and pop, the owners, they know what the hazards are because they protect themselves against them. But their supervisors may not know the hazards, and then their employees may not know the hazards. So they have failed. And if you're a new hire and you come on and you have rudimentary training on construction hazard recognition and how to protect yourself, you might be a valuable player, because mom and pop don't want to see their company go out of business because some supervisor was either uninformed or didn't care and put his employees at risk, and got nabbed. It could cost everybody their job. Because 25 on the Sirius XM, he has a segment every Monday morning that I like to watch. It's a segment on what are you grateful for the day, and I like to catch that on Monday morning because he gets me going the right way. Helps to hear other people talk about the things they're grateful for, and it could be anything, man. You could be grateful for the next breath you take, and you should be. When it crosses your mind, you're not busy doing something else. But if you take a moment every day and you reflect on what you're grateful for, and you got to do it early. You got to do it before you start interacting, because we all know you get to dealing with a knucklehead. All of a sudden, your thoughts are nowhere near being grateful. But anyway, the computer time says it is 5:59. And I got to change my shoes and get ready to go and all that stuff. But anyway, as I sign off, as we were just talking about, remember, the most important thing is to have a grateful day. Find something every day in your life that you are grateful for, whether it's having this job that you have, or the family that you have, or the opportunity just to breathe in the fresh air of God's kingdom. And until next time, have a grateful day. And